is we really enjoy working in the comms and engagement space, and we really think that we love the idea of young people having a seat at the table of public participation.
So why should young people be consulted? So as we all know, public participation is so important. It really empowers the community, ensures a well-informed community who are involved in the decision-making process and who are really aware of and have some say over what's happening around them. So it's a process that enables a really democratic, well-connected society that meets the needs of our generation both now and in the future. So public participation is really critical, especially for young people who we would generally classify as until the age of 24 as per the United Nations guidelines. So they're the future custodians of the city, and they're the group who will be really managing the impacts of the decisions we make now well into the future. So I think it's fair to say that at this point, young people are probably one of the least consulted stakeholder groups in many of the projects that we do. And this really doesn't sit well with us because, as I said, they are the people who will be managing the impacts of whatever decisions we make now, all those really critical issues, whether it's climate change or overpopulation or anything that we're deciding on now, they'll be dealing with well into the future. And young people aged under 24 actually make up 31% of the population of Australia. So I guess we want to ask you, are 1 in 3 people at your consultation events young people? So let's do a show of hands. Who thinks that they're seeing 1 in 3 people under the age of 24? Yeah, not many of us, and it's honestly the same for us, so it's something that really should change, and that's what we'll be really getting into today. So engaging young people doesn't need to be hard, and it's really not. We're going to run a little activity to show how fun and easy it can be. So if there's one thing young people like, it's having fun, so we want you to really channel your inner big kid here. Forget that you're a practitioner, just enjoy the session, pretend you're young, have a little bit of fun, and take the opportunity to get to know the other people at your table. So let's give it a go.
Okay. So can I ask you guys, have any of you been to a paint and sip session?
A couple, that's good.
How fun are they? They're so great. Like, for those of you who haven't been to it, one, I would highly recommend it. It's a really fun activity to do. You with a couple of your friends go to an art studio to paint something pretty amazing. There'll be usually a couple glasses of wine, and it's usually a really good night. We love the idea of going to one. We went one recently earlier this year and it was a whole bunch of fun. So we wanted to model this in a master planning sort of consultation setting.
Minus the alcohol.
Sorry. So we decided to do that through the lens, and we created a scenario for you guys that we wanted to model and to try and practice with you guys here. So we were thinking of visualizing your ideal park. What we wanted to do is, scenario that we created is we've thought of Drab Park is going the process of a major redesign to Fab Park. Council is preparing a master plan for this redesign, and one of the priorities of the project is for the park to be youth-focused and significantly used by young people in the community. Council want to consult with the community to get an idea of their visions and ideas for the project, and feedback for this process will shape the future design of the park. So, we want to create a master plan, we want to create a park that's for youth-focused, whilst consulting young people. So, we want you guys to be our pseudo young people. And so on your tables, you'll see that there's a piece of paper that is uncovered, like it
just
is.
roll it over, so you just unroll it, and then you've got your youth persona on that sheet.
Yeah. So for the first activity, we want you guys to try and imagine what it was like to be a kid. We've created some personas for you to help you imagine what it's like. You do creativity and imagination. We've given you some pieces of paper, some paint, and we'll give you about 10 minutes for this first exercise to really just kind of let your imagination go wild and see what this sort of persona and what this sort of young person would want in a park.
Yeah, so essentially using your personas, we want you to paint, using the A3 paper, what your persona would be looking for in a park, so we can adjust their vision. Great. So, as you know, you've all got the separate personas, but we do want to show you what all of the personas are like. So if you've not already noticed, everyone at your table does have a different persona, or there might be 2 of each, I think. So we'll go through. So we've got Jamie. So she's a young girl who loves being creative and performing. She does live in a small apartment, so she doesn't have a lot of space to play at home. And she's also in a wheelchair, so accessibility will be a key factor for her little park. And then we've got Helen, who's recently moved to Sydney from overseas. So she's really outdoorsy, plays a lot of sport, and when she has spare time, she loves to paint. So thinking about sports places and places where she can play outside.
Yeah, so we've got also Michael. He's a young regional boy who's moved recently to the city. He really likes learning, but is starting to develop a bit of anxiety living in such a densely populated area. So you can imagine that this sort of park would be very green, open, that sort of place of respite for him. And then you've also got Sid, who recently graduated from high school. He loves playing sport with the boys and going out. He's from a big family of 5 and also has a part-time job. So you can imagine his sort of park would have a lot of sporting facilities, maybe a skate park, that sort of fun sort of space there. So we can see from, I hope that what we're trying to pick up here is that these sort of people, they're all classified as young, but they have very different needs and very different sort of wants when it comes to what they want for the open space there. So I guess we want to discuss.
Yeah, so we want you to, in your tables, have a think about what each of your personas are and really discuss why you created what you did, what your persona needs and what you're really looking for in terms of a park that caters to their needs. So have a chat in your groups. You all have a different design, I'm sure. I think there's a lot of different ones out there. So have a chat about why you did what you did and sort of be the voice on behalf of your persona and really say what you need as your persona. So we'll give you a couple minutes to do that. So now that we've got all your ideas down on paper, we've got all of your personas into one big park, we do want to have a group discussion. So essentially, as you probably already figured out, this is less about the park and more about how we can get a diverse range of opinions and combine them together and how we can actually get your ideas out through a little bit of a more interesting medium than perhaps pen and paper and post-it notes. So we've got some prompting questions up on the board. So in your group, I just want you to talk about what was an unexpected takeaway from this activity and how you could sort of use this in practice, not exactly as it is, but how you could model little bits of it and how this could potentially inspire you to do something a little bit different in the way that you engage with particularly young people, but really anyone. So we'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we're going to get a representative from each group to actually tell us one interesting thing they've learned and one interesting they want to change or would like to remodel. Alright.
So we're doing some really great discussions right now. We're just wondering if anyone wants to share any of their unexpected takeaways or something they wanted to take back to practice.
Yes.
I've been told that this is a really fun mic to use, so I'm kind of prepared to practice. So if anyone
Who's volunteering? Oh, okay, Mandy over here.
Would you like to go to it? Let's throw it.
Yeah, go throw it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gracious. For me, one of the unexpected takeaways was everyone was commenting on how relaxing it was to sit with the paintbrush. And it made me think that if you were using this in practice, it could be a tool you use not only to engage with young people, but potentially at an event that also involves adults where you just need to bring the tension down a bit. So yeah, I thought it was really cool. Well done.
Awesome. Who's volunteering next? Yeah, we have a hand up.
We commented a lot on our table about how it really levels, it brings the levels down, and everyone's on the same level, and in some ways how it taps into your creative side. So you're tapping into people's creativity.
No, I think it is a great equaliser.
I like the comment made that it gave the quiet voice the opportunity because they were painting it, and then someone said, well, what have you drawn? It drags it out, whereas someone might just sit there and go, oh, I'm too scared to say something.
Yeah, it forces you to get involved. Sorry. No one likes that. Yeah, throw it around.
Ready?
So something that we thought about when we were talking about our different pictures, like there were elements of commonality between all of them which you can kind of go, okay, yeah, we'll shove that into the overall plan because we obviously all agree on it. But the most interesting parts of the design ended up being those little sparks of creativity where one person had a unique viewpoint or element to present, like we had an amphitheatre or Wi-Fi or something like that. It was those more unique ideas that created the better park space and just kind of had us reflecting on how a lot of engagement techniques that we use tend to be things where it's more of a voting process, like the loudest voice or the most votes or whatever it is wins, but that's not necessarily the best idea or the best outcome. So yeah, and that is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's get some other tables involved. Who will you go from? Table at the front? Yeah. Just go over and say it.
Yeah.
Oh,
activities and almost the one thing we were really worried about taking away from was actually spaces to for the community to kind of create what they want those spaces to look like, and it's actually not things not being so defined, as well as if you're kind of defining or designing a pub straight up, maybe a new community or a community that's not there yet, you're actually not sure if you're designing for as well. So leaving space to allow new people or changing communities to start shaping that public space is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, table behind you. Who wants to volunteer? Everyone looks super enthusiastic.
Well, I think to go on that as well, I think what we noticed, I think for many projects that you plan, you can create your own personas, knowing your target audience, but you also don't really know if you're designing it properly unless you consult them. So we sort of also went away thinking, this is a great part, we think, but we'd really have to sort of test it out as well.
Yeah.
As well as using the most of the space, so using certain spaces for different purposes and accessible for different things. And did I miss anything? We like to draw together. So,
Yeah. Anyone else? I think we've probably covered a lot of things. So I think, the common themes are I really encourage you to think about something that you may not have thought about before, whether that's coming out because it's a tool you're not familiar with or because you're acting as a persona who is not yourself. And I think that's really important. What you said over there is that even if you try and be that persona, you don't truly know until you actually engage with them and ask them what they want. Like you can, I guess, imagine all you want and think that you know, but you don't know until you ask. So I think this is really sort of encouraging you to think differently and think in a way that perhaps you wouldn't normally. So I guess we will move on then to what have we learned. So we've gone through a few of those. So I guess we've had some fun, we've made some friends as well, but we've also learned that youth engagement doesn't have to be hard, and in fact it can be a lot of fun, and painting is just one way to do this. So obviously we all know that technology is a big part of our lives today, and particularly for young people, but we've chosen to really go back to basics with this and use paint and paper as a medium of choice because it is quite immediate. It gives you really immediate outcomes, and most importantly really creates a visual outcome. Plus it's always a great idea to really encourage young people to sort of step outside their comfort zone and use a tool they may not be familiar with because it often gets different results to what we would normally get, and really encourage them to use I think a different part of our brain, with the more creative side as opposed to the more like logical text, pen and paper, writing down your ideas. So we really force you, I think, to get in touch with your younger self, or at least your personas, and think about what today's young people would want and need in their public places. And they're using parks for all sorts of different reasons. So of course they should be diverse and have a number of different features. And there's all been all sorts of really inclusive, interesting ideas there, and they all look like really cool options. And they, I guess, most importantly, meet the needs of a park designed for young people with young people. So painting is just a great way to get young people out of their comfort zone and really expand their boundaries, as well as make friends with people on their tables. It might be the makings of the next Picasso. And obviously we are moving, I think, towards an environmentally friendly future. So this activity could easily be recreated on an iPad or tablet device. It just depends if you have the budget and the resources. But I think that would also, you can get those little painting tools. I think would also bring out some really creative ideas.
Yeah. So often the hardest part of youth engagement is really how do we get them in the room in the first place. We can design a great activity, we can make it really engaging, really interactive, quite enjoyable to both run and participate in, but getting them in the room, it can be one of the most challenging things that can happen. We've seen it, we haven't been in the industry for that long, but we already see that that's why young people are classified as one of the hardest to reach groups.
Yeah, even when you put your hands up and said that 1 in 3 weren't young people, it really just goes to show that we're not seeing those people.
Yeah, so us we would classify ourselves as young people as well. Came up with some tips and tricks that might help to get some more young people in the door and part of our consultations.
So number 1 is freebies. So need we say more? So freebies and incentives are really good ways to just entice young people to come along anyway. So this can really be anything. It can be vouchers, or it can be chocolate, or it can be money, whatever you think is a good reward for young people, giving up their time and giving up their energy to really contribute and participate. We've had really good success at work from doing things like chocolate wheels and just handing out Freddo frogs just to really entice them in the door a little bit.
Yeah. Let's get social. Let's use social media. Young people have grown up in a technologically driven era. They're quite used to finding out about consultations and events through social media. Whether this is stuff like, and they can be very interactive and quite engaging too, whether it's things like Snapchat filters or Instagram stories to let people be informed about events. Something that's up and coming for the younger people is like the TikTok videos, which are quite funny to like watch and stuff, and can also be used as a way to inform people about consultation events. Or even something like Facebook discussions or Facebook polls as well. It can be a really cool platform to really stimulate discussion between young people and find out their thoughts and opinions. So social media is quite an important and quite an effective way that can be used to inform and engage young people, on top of the traditional mediums as well, such as the formal invitations and also
So like letters and newspaper ads, so we sort of see social media, it doesn't have to be on its own, I think it works best in conjunction with our traditional modes of communication. So, go ahead and put up a poster in the local community hall or shopping centre, but I think it's good to follow it up with some more current tools, such as social media. It doesn't hurt to have as much communication, as much information out there as possible. So next we've got looks do matter. So creative tools and visual tools are so important to advertising a project. So young people have grown up in the digital era where everything's fast, they have really short attention spans. I can definitely say that for myself anyways. You've only got one chance to really grab their interest and keep their attention. So graphic design should be fun, unique, visual, and don't be afraid to use memes and pop culture humour to really get their attention. I don't know if any of you followed the New South Wales Police Facebook page, but they're a great example. So have a look at that if you have a chance. They use memes and they really get involved and they get to down back to basics to a young person sort of level, and they use a lot of humour to even convey a really serious message, and it works really well, and it often goes viral, and it's just a great way to really spread awareness for the important information that they're passing on. And it's also important to keep the content really short and sweet, so there's no need to inundate them with really hardcore legislation or all this background information. It needs to be just straight to the point. What do they need to know? What can they participate in?
And are we going to yours? Or are we going to mine? One of the best ways to get young people's voices is to go where the young people are. They're busy, they have a million different interests that are spanning all across everywhere. So the less effort involved on their part, it was more likely for them to engage in the process. This can be from things like pop-up stores, going to festivals, shopping centres, and doing some online surveys, polls and discussions. You can get some really good feedback from going to them. For example, if we really wanted to create this sort of mastermind situation, another effective way to get people's opinions and their feedback is to actually go to a park and ask them what they wanted to do. So, yeah, we've had some really good success going to parks, for example, and asking for consultations.
Going where people are. So I guess to wrap up, so the key thing we really wanted to get across in this session is that there's no one size fits all, there's no cut and paste approach to engaging with young people. And painting is just one way out of 1,000 that you can really get young people to open up, share their ideas and share their views in a way that's fun, easy and informal. So the main thing here is just to show you that young people have a lot to offer in the realm of public participation. Even the ideas that you were coming up with are probably ideas that you wouldn't have thought of if you were designing the park for yourself. So I think it encourages you to think about what other people need and what other more diverse needs are out there. So young people often look at things from a really different perspective. They're more creative, they're very, I wouldn't say naive, but they have priorities that are quite different to ours, and I think they're less caught up in kind of the technical nitty-gritty aspects and more just getting their ideas across. And the world is changing a lot, so we need to really be embracing this. And yeah, they have a lot of ideas for their future and ones that we probably didn't think about, and realistically they're the ones who are going to be managing the future in the future. So we really need to embrace what they can offer us and let them take the reins.
So we hope you really enjoyed today. We really wanted to emphasise that youth engagement can be quite fun, engaging with young people can be quite fun and enjoyable, and that also there's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to engaging with what we call young people, and they can be quite varied and very different needs, wants, aspirations. So we hope you enjoyed today. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a good rest of the day.